My mother wants me and my siblings to forgive our older brother for stealing our other brother's fiancée, saying family is family. Years later, they are begging for our forgiveness. Gavin was always the golden child. Football captain, straight A's, could charm a nun into buying lottery tickets. My brother Roman, he was the grinder. Worked 2 jobs through college while Gavin got a free ride. When Roman proposed to Sasha after 3 years together, we thought he finally got his moment to shine. The engagement party was at our parents' house. Roman couldn't stop smiling. That's when I first noticed it. Sasha kept finding reasons to stand near Gavin. She'd touch his arm when she laughed. Gavin would lean in close when they talked, closer than a future brother-in-law should. I told myself I was being paranoid. Then the signs got worse. Gavin started showing up at their apartment when Roman worked late, always had some excuse, needed to borrow tools, wanted advice about his job. Sasha never mentioned these visits to Roman. I only knew because I'd drop by unannounced and find them on the couch, jumping apart like I'd caught something. One night, Roman called me at 2 a.m., voice barely a whisper. I just caught them. He'd come home early from a business trip, found Gavin's car in his spot, let himself in quietly. They were in his bed, the one he'd spent 6 months saving for so Sasha would have something nice. The family dinner from hell happened 3 days later. Mom set it up, said we needed to talk this through like adults. Roman sat there, eyes hollow, while Gavin actually tried to explain himself. It just happened, Gavin said, like he'd tripped and fallen into Roman's fiancée. We didn't mean for it to go this far, Sasha cried. Said she and Roman had been having problems anyway. Funny how Roman never knew about these problems until she was caught. Mom reached across the table, grabbed Roman's hand. You need to forgive your brother, she said. These things happen when people fall in love. You can find someone else. Dad nodded. Gavin didn't mean to hurt you. Be the bigger person. Blood is thicker than water. Caroline, my older sister, just stared at her plate. Said nothing. Didn't defend Roman once. I stood up. You're all insane. Roman, I'm leaving. You coming? He looked at Mom, Dad, then Gavin. Something broke in his eyes. Yeah, I'm done. We walked out together. Mom screamed that we were tearing the family apart. Gavin married Sasha 6 months later. Big wedding. Mom posted 47 photos on Facebook, texting me about how beautiful it was, how happy they looked, how I'd ruined it by being stubborn. I blocked her number after she called Roman selfish for not attending. 5 years. 5 years of holidays without us. 5 years of Mom guilt-tripping, saying I was keeping Roman from healing by holding a grudge. 5 years of Gavin and Sasha posting perfect couple photos. New house, tropical vacations. Sasha in a designer dress with the caption, "Blessed beyond measure." Meanwhile, Roman worked. Started his own business from his studio apartment. Ate ramen most nights. I'd stop by and we'd split a pizza. Never talking about them. He dated a little, nothing serious. Said he needed to focus on himself first. Then last month, everything changed. Roman's business went viral. Some influencer used his product, tagged him, and orders exploded. 6 figures in 3 weeks. He hired staff, moved into a penthouse downtown, started dating Talia, a lawyer who didn't know Gavin existed. Suddenly, Gavin was back, showed up at Roman's office, hat in hand, voice small. Hey brother, been too long. Can we talk? Roman called me right after. You won't believe what he wanted. Turns out Sasha cheated on Gavin with his best friend. Same way she cheated on Roman. Gavin found out when the friend's wife sent him screenshots. Sasha cleaned out their joint account, $50,000, and moved to another state. But wait, it gets better. Gavin lost his job. Something about inappropriate conduct with a colleague. Gavin's been hanging out with Roman 6 times now, playing it perfectly. Yesterday asked to borrow $50,000. Roman called me shaking. This morning Roman texted. I gave him the money. He cried. 3 hours later, his phone's disconnected. I drove to Gavin's apartment. Empty. Completely cleared out. Then I got a call from Roman's bank. Someone tried accessing his business account. Used information only Gavin would know. I called Roman. Where are you? He said, Gavin's apartment. I just found something. Then I heard Gavin's voice in the background. I was wondering when you'd figure it out. Roman went completely still on the other end. I could hear his breathing change through the phone. That specific kind of breathing when someone's trying really hard not to lose it. What do you mean? Roman's voice was flat. Dead flat. Come on, man, Gavin said. I could hear him moving around in the background, probably packing. You really thought I lost my job? That Sasha left me? There was a pause. I was already grabbing my keys. You said she cleaned out your account, Roman said slowly. Gavin laughed. Actually laughed. Yeah, that part's true. Gambling debts don't pay themselves. But she's still here, brother. We're still together. We're actually pretty happy. I just needed cash fast and you were suddenly loaded, so I was running to my car now. Roman, I'm coming. Don't do anything. The crying, Roman said, and his voice cracked a little. You cried in my office. You were shaking. Mom taught me that one. Said you always had a soft spot for tears. She was right too. You folded like a lawn chair. I heard something crash through the phone. Roman had thrown something against the wall. So the reconciliation, Roman said slowly, carefully, like each word cost him something. The coffee meetups, the lunch where we talked about Dad's health, all of it. All of it, Gavin confirmed, and I could hear the smile in his voice. Look, you got your money back in business success. I got bills. It's not that deep, man. Give me the money back. Can't do that. Already paid the bookies. That's sort of how debt works, you know? I pulled up to Gavin's apartment building just as Roman said, I'm calling the cops. For what? I didn't steal anything. You gave it to me. You got the bank transfer right there with your signature. Says gift from brother in the memo. I made sure of that. I took the stairs 2 at a time. The apartment door was open. Inside, I found Roman standing in the middle of the room, phone in his hand, staring at Gavin like he'd never seen him before. Gavin was loading boxes into a duffel bag, completely calm, whistling even. Hey sis, Gavin said when he saw me. Come to watch the show? That's when I noticed his laptop open on the kitchen counter. The screen was facing me. I could see an email inbox, and the subject lines made my stomach drop. I walked over and grabbed it before Gavin could react. Hey, that's private. Gavin started reaching for it. I pulled it away from him. The subject line of the most recent email thread stopped me cold. Our approach. I clicked it open. 6 months of messages between Gavin and our mother. I started scrolling and my hands went numb. Roman, I said quietly, you need to see this. Roman came over, still moving like he was underwater. He read over my shoulder. The first email was from Mom, dated 3 months ago. I think enough time has passed. He's clearly doing well financially based on what the cousins have said at Easter. You should reach out. Be humble. Mention the fishing trip you took when you were kids. He always talks about that one. Make him remember when you were close. If he brings up Sasha, get emotional but don't get defensive. Let him think he's helping you become a better person. Gavin's response. What if he asks for specifics about the job thing? Mom, keep it vague. Say you don't want to relive it. Men hate emotional details anyway, he won't push. If he does push, say something about office politics and change the subject to how well he's doing. People love talking about their success. I kept scrolling. There were dozens more. Mom telling Gavin exactly when to text, what to say, how long to wait between meetups so it seemed natural. Don't rush it, one email said. You need at least 5 visits before you ask for money. Build trust first. Another one. Mention his new girlfriend. Say you're happy he found someone. Make it about him, not you. She even suggested the coffee shop where they had their second reunion because it's where Roman took his first girlfriend in high school and he'll feel sentimental. Use the corner booth. The email dated 2 weeks ago made me actually feel sick. Mom, he's getting close. I can tell by how he talks about you to your father. Next time you see him, bring up the time you covered for him in high school when he snuck out to see that girl. He owes you one from that. It'll make him feel like he should help you now. Gavin, smart. What about the money amount? Mom, not too much or he'll be suspicious. 50 is good. It's significant but not unreasonable for a brother in trouble. Make sure you have a specific reason. Don't just say debt. Say you need to pay off a loan before it goes to collections. Gavin, what if he wants it in writing? Mom, he won't. He's too proud to admit he doesn't trust family. That's always been his weakness, his pride. The final email was from yesterday morning. Mom, if he agrees to the loan, act grateful but not too eager. Cry if you can. He needs to feel like he's saving you, like he's being the bigger person who rose above the past. That's what he wants more than anything. Roman's hands were shaking as he held the laptop. His jaw kept clenching and unclenching. You told her, he said to Gavin. His voice was barely audible. You told her the whole plan. She came up with the plan, Gavin corrected, zipping his duffel bag. I just executed it. Honestly, I thought you'd catch on faster. You really wanted to believe I'd changed, huh? Roman's face did something I'd never seen before. Like every emotion tried to surface at once and his features just gave up and went blank. He set the laptop down carefully on the counter. Then he walked out of the apartment without another word. I looked at Gavin. You know he could actually press charges for fraud or something. No, he can't. It's a gift. Check the transfer memo. I made sure it said gift from brother in the notes. No contract, no loan agreement, nothing. Gavin smiled and picked up his bag. Mom's idea, actually. She's surprisingly good at this stuff. Years of managing Dad's business accounting, I guess. You're a piece of shit, you know that? Maybe. But I'm a piece of shit who's 50 grand richer and about to have a great weekend in Vegas with my wife. He walked past me toward the door. Tell Roman thanks. And tell him Sasha says the money's going to good use. I wanted to hit him. I genuinely considered it. But instead I took a photo of the email thread with my phone and followed Roman. He was already in his car when I got to the parking lot. Engine running, both hands on the steering wheel, just sitting there. I climbed into the passenger seat. Where are we going? I asked. Their house. His voice sounded like gravel, like something had scraped his throat raw. Roman, maybe you should take a minute and... I need to hear her say it. He put the car in gear. I need to hear her admit what she did. We didn't talk the whole drive. Roman's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. He ran a red light and didn't even notice. I didn't say anything. When we pulled up to our parents' house 20 minutes later, Gavin's car was already there in the driveway. He'd beaten us. He called them, I said. Of course he did. Roman turned off the engine. Probably gave them the script for this conversation too. We sat there for a minute. Roman stared at the house. The house where we'd grown up, where we'd had Christmas morning and birthday parties and family dinners. It looked exactly the same. Blue shutters, Mom's flower garden along the walkway, the basketball hoop Dad installed when Gavin made the high school team. You don't have to do this, I said. We can just leave, block them all and move on. I do have to do this. Roman opened his car door. Because if I don't, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering if I misunderstood, if I'm being too harsh, if there's some explanation that makes it okay. We walked in without knocking. Family privilege, you know, even when your family's destroyed you. They were all in the living room, Mom, Dad, and Gavin, standing by the fireplace like they'd been expecting us. Gavin had definitely called ahead. Mom's eyes were already red. Dad looked uncomfortable. Roman, sweetheart, Mom started, taking a step forward with her arms out. Gavin told us there's been a misunderstanding. Roman held up the laptop, set it on the coffee table, opened to the email thread. Mom's face went white, like actually drained of color. She took a step back. Dad leaned forward to look at the screen. His jaw tightened. He read for a long moment, then longer. His hand came up to cover his mouth. Gavin, go wait in the kitchen, Dad said quietly, not looking away from the screen. I'm good here, Gavin said. He was leaning against the wall, arms crossed. Gavin, kitchen, now. For the first time, I saw actual fear cross Gavin's face. Dad's voice had gone cold, but Gavin didn't move. So, Roman said. He still hadn't raised his voice, hadn't moved from the entrance to the living room. You helped him. Mom sat down heavily on the couch. Her hands were shaking. Roman, sweetheart, it's not what it looks like. It's emails, Mom. Literally written evidence. Time-stamped. What else could it possibly look like? I thought if you two reconciled, she said, wringing her hands. The same gesture she'd done when I was a kid and broken something expensive. Maybe Gavin would finally straighten out his life. Having you back, having that bond again, that brotherly support, straighten out his life, Roman repeated. He took a step into the room. What does that mean? Roman, that's not important right now, Dad started. How long, Dad? Roman turned to him. How long has Gavin needed to straighten out his life? Dad sighed, rubbed his face with both hands. He suddenly looked about 10 years older. Your brother's been having financial trouble for years. How many years? Roman, this isn't how many years? Since right after the wedding, Dad admitted. He's not good with money, never has been. We thought having family support again might motivate him to change, to be more responsible. Roman laughed, no humor in it at all, just a sharp, bitter sound. So you helped him scam me to motivate him to be responsible? That's really the logic here? It wasn't a scam, Mom said desperately. It was a reconciliation. The money was just what? A bonus? A convenience fee for forgiving the brother who destroyed my life? I couldn't stay quiet anymore. I'd been standing by the door, but now I moved into the room. How much have you given him over the years? That's between us and Gavin, Dad said firmly. How much? Dad looked at Mom. Mom looked at the floor. Maybe 20,000, Dad said finally. Around there, over 5 years. Mom nodded quickly, too quickly. Something like that, give or take. Gavin started laughing from his spot by the fireplace. Actually laughing. Oh, we're still doing this? Really? Gavin, shut up, Dad warned. Nah, I'm done shutting up. Gavin pushed off the wall, walked over to where Roman stood, pulled out his phone. You want the truth, brother? Here's the truth. He started scrolling through his phone, turned the screen to Roman. $68,412. Over 5 years. Want to see the receipts? I got Venmo, Zelle, direct bank transfers. Hell, I even got a couple of checks deposited. I kept everything. He scrolled slowly, deliberately. Car payments when I totaled the Audi sophomore year. That was $8,000. Rent for 8 months when I was between jobs. That's another 12. Credit card debt, paid off 3 separate times. That's about 15 total. Legal fees for the DUI they never told you about. That was 5. Casino markers from Atlantic City. Another 6. Oh, and my personal favorite. $5,000 for Sasha's new car last year because she said the old one was embarrassing to drive to her yoga class. Roman took the phone. His hand was steady now. He scrolled through the transactions himself. I watched his face, watched something change there. The first transfer, he said slowly, looking at the date. This was 8 months after I left. Yeah, Gavin confirmed, taking his phone back. Right after I spent the wedding money. Roman looked up, looked right at Dad. Which wedding money? The silence in that room was suffocating. I could hear the kitchen clock ticking from the other room. Someone's stomach growled. Mom's breath was coming fast and shallow. Roman, Mom whispered. Let's not. Which? Wedding. Money. Dad cleared his throat, adjusted his collar. After Gavin and Sasha got married, he needed help getting settled, starting a new marriage, new life together. It's expensive. You helped pay for their wedding? Roman's voice finally broke. Actually broke. Gavin and Sasha's wedding? $15,000, Gavin answered when neither parent did. He said it cheerfully like he was reading a lunch order. Open bar wasn't cheap. Plus, Mom wanted the flower arrangements to look good for photos. Said they'd be on Facebook forever. Roman turned to look at our parents. Really look at them. Did you contribute anything to my engagement to Sasha? Mom's eyes filled with tears. Real ones this time, I think. We were planning to help when the time came. We had money set aside. The time never came, Mom. The time never came because Gavin fucked my fiancé in my bed and then you paid $15,000 for their party 8 months later. That's not fair, Dad said, standing up. We were trying to help them start fresh. They'd made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but they were trying to build something real. Start fresh, Roman repeated. His voice was hollow now, empty. What about me? What was I starting? Nobody answered. Mom was crying silently into her hands. Dad just stood there. I asked you both for help one time, Roman said. One time in 4 years of working through college. I needed $600 for textbooks. My financial aid didn't cover them and I couldn't work enough hours that month because of exams. You remember what you said? Dad shifted uncomfortably. That was a long time ago. You said you couldn't spare it. That money was tight. That I should learn to budget better. Roman's voice was getting quieter. That's how you knew he was really angry, when he got quiet. I ended up selling my laptop and using the library computers for a semester. But money wasn't tight, was it? You just couldn't spare $600 for textbooks because you were saving it for Gavin's next crisis. That was different, Dad started. How? How was that different? Gavin needed? Roman's voice finally rose. What about what I needed when I was working closing shift at the restaurant until 2 a.m.?
An opening shift at the warehouse at 6 a.m., sleeping 4 hours a night, eating vending machine food because I couldn't afford groceries. Where was my starting fresh money? You were always so independent, Mom said, looking up from her hands. Ever since you were little, you just figured things out yourself. You never asked for help, you just did things yourself. We thought you were fine. We thought you liked being independent. I ate ramen for 9 months straight. The same flavor because it was 3 cents cheaper than the variety pack. I wore the same pair of jeans for 2 years because I couldn't afford new ones when they got holes. I walked to work when my car died because I couldn't afford to fix it. I was not fine. I just knew better than to ask you for anything after you made it clear Gavin was the only son worth investing in. That's not true, Mom cried. We love you both equally. We've always loved you the same. Then explain the wedding money, Roman said flatly. Explain the $68,000. Explain those emails where you literally scripted his manipulation of me like you were directing a play. I was trying to help you both, Mom said. I thought if you reconciled, you could heal. You could be brothers again. By having him lie to me? By teaching him exactly what to say to manipulate my emotions? I was giving him guidance on how to approach a difficult conversation. You told him which childhood memory to use. You told him where to meet me because you knew I'd feel sentimental. You coached him on how to cry. Roman's voice cracked. That's not guidance, Mom. That's manipulation. That's fraud. Gavin was still smiling, just leaning against the wall, watching the show like it was a movie. He caught me staring at him and winked. Roman noticed. Why are you smiling? Because this is hilarious, man. You still think they're going to choose you. After everything. You still think if you just make them understand, they'll apologize and make it right. Gavin, that's enough, Dad said sharply. Nah, let me finish. Let me really finish. Gavin pushed off the wall again, walked right up to Roman. You know what's really funny? The funniest part of this whole thing? Roman just stared at him. They knew. Gavin's smile got wider. They knew about Sasha and me before you caught us. The room went dead quiet. Even Mom stopped crying. What? Roman turned to our parents. He doesn't mean that, Mom said quickly. Too quickly. He's just trying to hurt you more. Oh, I absolutely mean that. Gavin pulled out his phone again. I told them 3 weeks before you walked in on us. Want to see those texts too? I got them right here. You're lying, Roman said, but his voice was uncertain. Am I? Ask them. Go ahead. Ask Mom and Dad if I told them I was sleeping with Sasha before you found out. Roman looked at Dad. His face was pale. Is he lying? Dad's face was stone. He looked at the wall behind Roman's head. Gavin came to us, yes. He was confused about his feelings, about what was happening between him and Sasha. We talked it through. Did you tell him to end it? Silence. Long, awful silence. Did you tell him to tell me? More silence. We told him, Dad said carefully, still not meeting Roman's eyes, to be prepared for you to overreact when you found out. Overreact. Roman's voice was barely audible now. You knew he was sleeping with my fiancé and you told him I'd overreact. We thought it might end on its own, Mom said. She was twisting a tissue in her hands, twisting it over and over. Affairs sometimes do. They burn out. We didn't want to blow up your relationship with her if they were going to end things quietly and no one would get hurt. So you gambled with my entire life to avoid an uncomfortable conversation. We were trying to protect you from getting hurt if it was just a fling, Mom insisted. If they were going to break it off anyway, why hurt you unnecessarily? I got hurt anyway, Roman shouted. I got hurt worse because I looked like an idiot who didn't know his own brother was betraying him while my parents watched and said nothing. Do you understand that? You made me look pathetic. We didn't know it would go on that long, Dad said. We thought it would be a few weeks at most. It was 3 months. 3 months you watched me plan a wedding to a woman who was fucking my brother. 3 months you watched me show you the venue, talk about the guest list, ask for your opinions on flowers. Roman's voice was shaking now. I asked you to walk Sasha down the aisle at our wedding because her dad was gone and she needed a father figure. You said yes. You said you'd be honored, and the whole time you knew. Mom made us sound like a wounded animal.
We didn't know what to do. You knew exactly what to do. You tell me. That's what you do. You tell your son his fiancée is cheating on him with his brother? Roman ran his hands through his hair. But you couldn't do that because it would make things awkward. It would make Gavin look bad. Better to just let me be humiliated. Gavin was outright laughing now. Oh man, we're not even to the best part yet. What best part? I asked, even though I didn't want to know. The night Roman caught us. Gavin looked at our mother with something like affection. Mom, you want to tell him or should I? Mom's face crumpled completely. Please don't do this. She called me at midnight, Gavin said, eyes still on Roman. While you were still at the apartment processing what you'd just seen, while you were probably throwing up in your bathroom or crying or whatever, she called me, crying, about what I was going through, Roman asked quietly. Nope, Gavin popped the P sound. About how humiliated she'd be at church, how the cousins would talk, how Aunt Diane would have a field day with the gossip, how everyone would think we were a trashy family with no values. Roman looked at Mom. She couldn't meet his eyes. She asked me if I actually loved Sasha, Gavin continued. I said I wasn't sure. I said it had just kind of happened and I didn't know what I felt. You know what she told me? Roman just stared. She said I needed to marry Sasha anyway, because if I didn't, it would look like I just destroyed your relationship for fun, like I was the villain. But if I married her, it could look like destiny, like we couldn't help falling in love, like it was tragic and romantic instead of just fucked up. Better optics for the family. Is that true? Roman's voice was barely a whisper. He was looking at Mom. She was crying again. I was upset. I wasn't thinking clearly. I'd just gotten the worst phone call of my life. From Gavin, not from me. I was the one who got cheated on, and you called Gavin to check on him. I called you too. I called you right after. 3 hours later, Roman said. I checked my phone records after. You called Gavin at 11:47 p.m. You called me at 2:23 a.m. 3 hours you spent on the phone with him first. Dad sat back down on the couch, put his head in his hands. You told him to marry my fiancée for optics, Roman said to Mom, for appearances. I told him if he loved her, he should commit. That's all I meant. I was trying to make sense of a horrible situation. That's not what you said, Mom. Gavin pulled out his phone yet again. I recorded the call because I thought it might come in handy someday. Want to hear it? Gavin, stop this right now, Dad demanded, looking up. Why? We're all being honest now, right? Isn't that what family does? Tell the truth? He pressed play. Mom's voice came through the speaker, tinny but clear, younger somehow, frantic. If you back out now, you'll look like a homewrecker who destroyed your brother's happiness for nothing. But if you marry her, if you really commit, then people will understand. They'll see it as true love, not betrayal. Real feelings that you couldn't control. You need to fix this, Gavin. You need to make it right by making it permanent. Gavin's voice on the recording. What if Roman won't forgive me? Mom, he will. Eventually. He's too soft-hearted not to. But you need to give him something to forgive. Right now, it just looks cruel. If you marry her, it looks like love. The recording ended. Gavin pocketed his phone. Roman's face was completely blank now, like someone had just unplugged him. Remember that family dinner? I asked softly. My voice sounded too loud in the quiet room. 3 days after you found out? Roman nodded slowly. The script makes sense now, doesn't it? I said. It wasn't wisdom. It wasn't Mom trying to help you heal. It was damage control. You needed me to forgive him, Roman said to our parents. His voice was flat, dead. Not for my healing, not for our relationship. So the story looked better. So people wouldn't ask questions. So you could tell everyone it was complicated and beautiful instead of just fucked up. We wanted our family whole, Dad said weakly. Your family was never whole. Roman's eyes were dry. Not a tear, just empty. I was just too stupid to see it. You funded his wedding 6 months later, I added. I couldn't help myself. While Roman was eating ramen in a studio apartment, we were helping him move forward with his life, Dad said. But even he didn't sound convinced anymore. I was also trying to move forward with my life, Roman said. In a 400-square-foot studio with water stains on the ceiling, eating pasta with canned sauce, wearing the same 3 shirts to work because I couldn't afford dry cleaning. Did you know that? We didn't know you were struggling, Mom said, still crying. When did you ask? Roman's voice rose again. When did either of you call and say, hey Roman, how are you doing? Do you need anything? Are you okay? When did you check on me? Neither of them answered. You know when Caroline last talked to me? Roman asked. 2 Christmases ago. She called me drunk from some party, said she felt bad about what happened, but she couldn't take sides. Couldn't choose between her brothers, like it was a political debate or something. Like Gavin's decision to fuck my fiancé was just a difference of opinion she had to stay neutral on. I'd forgotten Caroline hadn't even shown up today. She probably knew this confrontation was coming. Probably got a heads up from Mom or Gavin and decided to skip it. Gavin checked his watch. Actually checked his watch like he had somewhere to be. This is fun and all, but I've got a flight to catch. Sasha's already at the airport. Flight where? Roman asked. Vegas. We're meeting some friends at the Bellagio. Catching a show tomorrow night, doing some gambling, you know, living life. He grinned at Roman. Thanks for funding it, by the way. That 50 grand's going to make for a great weekend. Roman moved so fast I barely registered it. He grabbed Gavin by the collar and slammed him against the wall. Picture frames rattled. Roman! Dad jumped up, but Roman didn't hit him. He just held him there, faces inches apart. Gavin's smile finally faltered. You know what the saddest part is? Roman said quietly. So quietly I had to strain to hear. I would have given you the money if you'd just asked. If you'd called me 3 months ago and said, Gavin's in real trouble, he needs help, I would have helped. Because that's what family actually does. But you couldn't even give me that respect. You had to manipulate me. You had to make me feel like I was healing, like we were reconnecting, like maybe there was hope for us. And it was all just another con. Roman, let him go, Mom pleaded. Roman released Gavin and stepped back, looked at our mother. You asked earlier what I meant by done. Mom's face was desperate, mascara running. Roman, please, we can fix this. I mean, I'm finally accepting what you showed me 5 years ago and every single day since. His voice was eerily calm now. I was never actually part of this family. I was just the son who didn't cost you anything until I had boundaries, until I expected to be treated with basic respect. That's not true, Dad said, but his voice was weak. He couldn't even look at Roman. Gavin was always the real son. Roman looked at Gavin, then at our parents. The one worth investing in, worth protecting, worth lying for, worth sacrificing everything for, including me. Roman, you're our son too, Mom said. We love you. You love the idea of a complete family, Roman corrected. You love being able to post on Facebook about your boys. You love telling people at church that everyone's doing well, but you don't love me. If you loved me, you would have chosen me at least once. Just once in 5 years. We didn't choose anyone, Mom insisted. You chose him every single time. Roman's voice finally broke with emotion. When he told you about the affair, you chose him by not telling me. At that dinner, you chose him by telling me to forgive him instead of holding him accountable. When you paid for his wedding, you chose him. Every time you sent him money, you chose him. When you helped him plan his scam, you chose him. And you know what? That's fine. I accept it now, but don't stand here and pretend it didn't happen. He turned and headed for the door. Roman, wait. Mom was on her feet reaching for him. You can't just leave. We need to talk about this more. We're family. Roman stopped at the doorway, didn't turn around. His shoulders were rigid. No, he said. You're Gavin's family. You've been telling me that for 5 years with every action, every choice, every lie. I'm just finally listening. If you walk out that door, Dad said, and his voice had an edge to it now. If you walk out, don't expect us to keep reaching out. We've tried with you. We've extended olive branches. If you choose to leave this family, that's on you. Roman's laugh was bitter. You're really going to make this my fault? After everything that just came out? We made mistakes, Dad said. But you're not perfect either. You're stubborn. You hold grudges. You cut people off instead of working through problems. I cut off my brother who fucked my fiancée and my parents who helped him do it. That's not a grudge, Dad. That's self-preservation. He walked out. I followed, but not before I saw Gavin lean over to Mom and whisper something that made her cry harder. Roman got in his car, started the engine. His hands were steady now, perfectly steady. Behind us, Mom ran out onto the porch. Roman, please, don't do this. Don't tear this family apart. But he put the car in reverse, backed out of the driveway. She ran after the car for a few steps, then stopped in the street. Dad came out and pulled her back. Gavin appeared in the doorway, phone already to his ear, probably calling Sasha to tell her they'd officially gotten away with it. Roman drove, didn't speed, didn't run lights, just drove normally, like he was going to the grocery store. You okay? I asked after a few minutes. He looked at me, really looked at me, and for the first time in 5 years, his eyes weren't hollow. Yeah, he said. For the first time in 5 years, I actually am. And he drove away from that house while Mom called after him from the street, and he didn't look back once.